let's talk about rental property management. Actually, wait, that's a kind of a boring way to start a video. So first, let me talk about one of my favorite sports, Ultimate Frisbee. All right, when I first started playing Ultimate Frisbee, I was horrible. Like, I would drop every pass, I would throw the Frisbee on the ground, and then end up losing the game for my team. However, today, after 5 years of playing, I'm still pretty horrible. In fact, I lose like every game I play. Now, why? Well, because I never made a conscious choice to improve, to get better, right? Being a great manager of rental properties is very similar. Success as a landlord doesn't come naturally. It's a skill you got to develop. And as you become a better manager, the property makes more money and your stress levels drop dramatically. So, if you can't commit to becoming a great manager, then just don't do it. All right, the stakes are much higher than a simple game of Ultimate Frisbee. My name is Brandon Turner, author of the book on rental property investing and the book on managing rental properties. And in this video, I want to lay out we'll call them 7 rules for rental property management success. And of course, if you like this video, don't forget to click that little thumbs up button, letting the world know this video here is valuable. All right, on to the list. Rule number 1. Property management is a business, not a hobby. Treat it that way. You see, way too many new property managers just fly by the seat of their pants trying to figure things out as they go. But those are the managers who wind up in hot water with their tenants, their neighbors, and their spouses. So commit to treating your business like a business. Get the right forms, be professional, act like you're managing 10,000 units, even if you're just managing 1. This means being organized, developing systems and processes that guide your business, and making sure your bookkeeping is in order from day 1. All right, rule number 2, offer a great property for rent. Repeat after me. Nasty properties attract nasty tenants. Nasty properties attract nasty tenants. All right, offering a great property up front can help a ton. A great property is going to have fewer repairs over time. It's going to attract a higher quality tenant who will care for the property better. And that tenant's probably going to stay way longer, which means more profit for you. All right, rule number 3, attract as many tenants as possible. When you're trying to find a good tenant, there's a lot of them out there, right? Some are good, some are not so good. It's important you only rent to the good ones. So you need to open up your funnel, the people interested, to as many possible tenants as you can. Think about it this way. If you list your place for rent and you have only 2 people interested, right? You're stuck between choosing between one of them or waiting forever for someone else, costing you time and money. But what if you had 20 interested parties? Well, now there's a lot higher chance you're going to find someone incredible in that group. If you had 50, even better, right? So don't just rely on one marketing technique to attract tenants to your property. Try a lot of stuff. We use Craigslist, we use Zillow. Well, we'll put a sign in the yard, take out a newspaper ad, put a flyer up at the grocery store, maybe even an ad on Facebook. Get the phone ringing, increase your chance of landing a great tenant. All right, moving on to rule number 4, screen for the best. Look, finding a great tenant is the number 1 most important thing in ensuring a great, profitable rental property management future, or living through years of hell beating yourself up for ever getting into this line of work. So when screening tenants, I look at 4 general areas. First, income, which I want to be 3 times whatever the rent is. Job stability, which I want to make sure their job isn't temporary and that they haven't been there for, just a couple days. Credit, which I usually want to be above 600. See that they're a little responsible. And finally, rental history, which I want to see they have positive reviews from previous landlords and no prior evictions. When it comes to human nature, we don't really change all that much. How a tenant has been is probably how they're going to be. No matter what they say or how much they try to convince you that they've changed, I'm going to let other landlords, other managers take those risks. I want a sure bet. All right, moving on to rule number 5, be mindful of fair housing laws. Now, look, there are some things you can discriminate against and should. Having an eviction on your record, or being a smoker, or owning 15 cats, or whatever, right? But other things are legal no-nos for discriminating against, like race, color, religion, sex, handicap, familial status, disability, or national origin. So don't ask how many kids they have, or why they're in a wheelchair, or what religion they are. That's just stupid, right? Asking for a lawsuit. Also, keep in mind, some states add a few other things, a little protected classes to the list, so be sure to research your local laws. And remember, this is a business and business owners are required to know the laws. Now, speaking of legal, let's move on to rule number 6. Sign a rock-solid lease with your tenant. Look, when you're a kid, you don't often understand why rules exist. I mean, come on, Mom, right? But as you grow up, you realize that rules are there to keep everybody on the same page and everybody happy. They make the world go round. That is why having a rock-solid lease is so important. A lease is a legal document that spells out all the terms of the rental period, as well as the rules and regulations that govern the relationship between landlord and tenant. They take a lot of the shooting from the hip decisions and get out of the picture and give you, the manager, something powerful to rely on when making decisions. And a solid lease can protect you and the property legally in case something goes terribly wrong. Like, tenant wants to move in a dog? Well, what's the lease say? Tenant wants to move out early? Okay, well, what's the lease say? The tenant has garbage piling up on their deck. Well, what does the lease say? Keep in mind also, this is important, real estate is highly localized. What might be required in one state might be illegal to talk about in another. So it's important that you have a state-specific lease, not just something that you pulled off the internet. And if you are interested in getting one of those state-specific ones, BiggerPockets Pro members get regularly updated, lawyer-reviewed, state-specific leases and other rental documents as one of the perks of being a Pro member. So check out the other perks at BiggerPockets.com/pro and learn more about BiggerPockets Pro. All right, rule number 7. Be firm but fair. Look, perhaps one of the best pieces of advice I ever received when I became a landlord were those 4 words. Be firm but fair. In other words, follow the rules and guidelines you put in place. Have penalties for late fees when tenants break the rules, right? Don't bend because you heard a sob story. Not only does it hurt you and your finances, it actually ultimately hurts the tenant. Imagine this. The tenant calls and said there was some mishap with their paycheck and they're going to be a week late on rent. You let it slide. And now you've trained them that that's okay. So 2 months later, it happens again. But this time it's a couple weeks late. Then later it's a month late. Pretty soon they're 3 months behind rent. They're not answering your calls and you've got to evict a tenant costing you thousands of dollars. And now for the next decade, your tenant is going to struggle trying to find a place to rent because they got that eviction on the record. All because you were too soft. That's on you. Now, I know that sounds dramatic, but that exact scenario plays out time and time and time again with landlords all around the world. It always ends bad. Instead, be firm but fair. Follow your rules, follow your lease. Because remember, you are running a business. Now, if you enjoyed these tips today, can you do me a quick favor and click that little thumbs up button below the video? And of course, be sure to pick up a copy of the book on managing rental properties, which you can get at BiggerPockets.com/store or wherever books are sold. I wrote that book alongside my wife, Heather, who is the best landlord I've ever met. She's incredible. And you can be too if you just follow these 7 simple rules. For BiggerPockets.com, my name is Brandon Turner, signing off.
Yes.
I don't know if I can.